In the last video of building my helicopter, I tackled the controls, the mixer, and the swash plate. And this week we're tackling the drivetrain all the way back to the tail rotor gearbox. My name's Callie, I'm the OKS engineer. Let's get into it. It's time to start working on the drivetrain for the helicopter, more specifically the belt reductions as they go down to the engine. So we start with this large reduction at the top. That then goes down to a splitter gearbox that actually splits the transmission down to the tail rotor. And then finally we get down to the engine. Now we have to work on it kind of in this order because as we locate these components, that's what drives to the location of the next. The first belt reduction gets both aligned and tensioned by the use of this plate. This sprocket gets pressed into this bearing, and then the forward and aft movement of this plate is what would tension that belt. There's also a grease fitting at the back, and then you see some all thread where a nut will go. That will assist with the tensioning. Before I get the sprocket pressed in, I need to grind out some clearance where that grease fitting is going to go, and I also need to make the hole for where my tensioner is going to go at the front. I needed a special tool so I could use this C-clamp, and I ended up using about 1.75 inches of extra length of the tail rotor drive shaft. It's 1-inch aluminum, and it worked out perfect. I'm just going to basically hope and pray and start squeezing this thing together and see how this all goes. Well, I was expecting a lot worse, so I can't really complain. I got the belts tensioned up, and so it's good to go, and now the location of that shaft under here is where it needs to be, and we can use that to locate where our splitter gearbox needs to go. Before we get to that, though, we need to get the tail boom built up and installed, and that includes the tail rotor drive shaft. For that, we cut that long piece of 1-inch tube to 112 5/8 inches long. We need to get these carrier bearings built up and installed into their locations on the drive shaft, and then get the ends plugged and get the Lovejoys installed so that they can transfer the power to both gearboxes. For the Lovejoys that get installed on either end of the drive shaft, there's a couple critical things about them, hence why I made another 3D printed jig. First of all, you need to get the Lovejoy mounted flush to the end of the drive shaft, so that is why there is a wall at the end of this. It'll make sure that the hole is drilled flush. The location is also critical. It needs to be perfectly on top of that bar, and so this should center it well enough. It also has a hole on the bottom so that we can drill from both sides. In the event the drill starts to walk, we can meet in the middle and make sure that it's going to line up for the Lovejoy. And then third, I designed it so that it can sit flat on the floor, and I can put one on each end. That way I know that the holes are parallel end to end. That way when I install these, I can install them 180. The bolts and the heads can be opposite of each other to help with vibration, or I guess minimize it if possible. The Lovejoy ends are permanently installed to the ends of the drive shaft, and it's time to get these bearing carriers installed. These carriers are a little more sloppy than the Lovejoys. The instructions call out to use thousandths shim stock just to make them fit a little bit more snug. It took maybe 2 inches of that shim stock wrapped around the tube to get them very tight. So I'm happy with them there. To get these installed, you use 3 rivets on each one. I did put the shim underneath one of the rivet holes so that the rivet hole secures that shim so it won't go anywhere. But we'll go ahead and we'll get those 3 holes drilled in each one of these bearings and get those installed with rivets. Well, my rivet tool won't fit into that location as you saw, and instead of going out and buying a new one and hoping that that dimension fits, not to mention ain't nobody got time for that, we're just going to modify this one and let her rip. All right, the tail rotor drive shaft is complete and ready to be installed. Next up, we got to get the boom onto the back of the helicopter so we can start aligning that splitter gearbox up to this reduction pulley. Now, this splitter gearbox won't fit through any of these 4 holes, so if you forget to put this inside this nice little spot before you put that boom on, you're going to be taking the boom off again just to get it in there. So the best way I could come up with to see if these 2 shafts are aligned is just basically use a straight edge, make sure it's square on one shaft and see where it lands on the other. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but blown away at how close this whole assembly is. I don't know what kind of fixture Composite FX uses to get everything located and in place, but we're within like probably a half a degree, probably less than that, and within like a 32nd of an inch in overall like placement and alignment. I don't know. I'm blown away. Between having to get something machined in fiberglass up at the top and then a gearbox that sits into a collar and a tail boom that's totally separate in a different assembly. I don't know. I don't know what I'm expecting, but blown away. Good job, Composite FX. Quick side note, I completed my first solo yesterday. Pretty cool moment for me. I'm getting my fixed wing first, and then I'll do the helicopter add-on, and I'll explain more of that in a later video. I was hoping to do maybe a little more on my training, but to be honest, there's just so much going on, and I'm too new, and it doesn't make any sense for me to try to videotape any of this. So I'll put something together in the future. Maybe I'll talk about it on one of my flights. But for now, this is what you get. And now that I'm happy with the location of that splitter gearbox, I'm going to attempt to take the whole boom out with that gearbox press fit in place. That way I have more room to work on it. With the gearbox out and in the tail boom, I need a way to drill the 4 radial holes around the gearbox to secure it in its location. And to do that, I made another drill jig. This jig locates itself on the actual splitter gearbox. That then transfers the location of each of the 4 radial holes out into the fiberglass collar, and then you can drill through the collar, and it should be relatively close to where it's supposed to be. I'm going to start with an 1/8 inch hole, and then I will step it out with a step bit to 1/4 inch and just check the alignment as we go to make sure that it's right. In an attempt to reduce the number of times this boom has to go on and off of the helicopter, I think I'm going to build up the rest of the boom with the tail rotor drive shaft and get this all set. Now you need a little bit of more background information for this all to make sense. You can only install the tail rotor drive shaft from the back of the tail boom, from the tail rotor side of the tail boom. That's because in the middle here there's 3 bulkheads, and those bulkheads have collars, and those collars are basically shaped like trumpets, kind of. And those trumpets are there, they're pointing backwards. They're there to help kind of guide the O-rings that are on the, I guess I'll call them pillow bearings or the guide bearings for the tail rotor drive shaft. And that will help kind of get those O-rings in place, and that's why it can only go from one direction. With that, I think it's going to be really hard if I install the splitter gearbox to get the Lovejoy connected in that end if I can't access it because I'm pushing in a drive shaft from the entire opposite end of the tail boom. So I think I'm going to push in the tail rotor drive shaft first, then I'll get the splitter gearbox mounted up front with that Lovejoy connected. I'll get it on the helicopter, check again that the alignment is good between those shafts, and then finally we'll come back and we'll install the tail rotor gearbox because I'll have access to the Lovejoys back there and it should be okay. At least that's my plan. The directions call out to use a really long broomstick or a tube or something with some rags taped to it and clean out each of the three, I guess I'll call them bulkheads, where these pillow bearings lay, that way that they don't mess up the O-rings that go around them. Then it says to use grease or lube. I'm going to use Vaseline to ensure that they slip through each of those, because obviously the first has to travel through all three, the second two, and then the last one just one. So we want to make sure that they're not going to hang up on the way through. And then it just basically says to push it in through the back. So what I haven't told you guys yet is the first time I test fit this alignment after I drilled those holes is it was wrong. So I've since taken this back out. I've actually opened up or ovaled those holes a little bit and gave myself a little bit more play, as you can see here. Now I can use that play, align the upper shaft to the lower shaft. And then the clever thing that Composite FX kind of figured out is you can then tighten 3 of the 4 bolts that hold this thing in. And then for the 4th bolt, you actually use JB Weld and you bond a washer to the 4th hole location. And that washer basically constrains that degree of freedom and it will hold everything in place. Now it all gets torqued to 50 inch-pounds. It's all going to get squeezed in this collar, so it shouldn't move regardless, but that extra, I guess, insurance of having that washer bolt or glued on there is basically going to make sure it stays in place. This is one of those trust but verify situations. If I didn't manufacture that tail rotor drive shaft correctly, or if my assembly is slightly different and that drive shaft happens to be too short and it comes out of the Lovejoy, I will lose all drive to the tail rotor and that would be a really bad day. So basically what I've done here is I've pushed the tail rotor drive shaft all the way forward. So it's butted up against the splitter gearbox way back in the back, or I guess in the front. And then I'm going to take a measurement from the back face of that Lovejoy to the face of this tail boom where the tail rotor gearbox actually mounts flush to. And we're going to make sure that that dimension is the same as the dimension on the tail rotor gearbox, minus about 1/16 of an inch or so, just to make sure that I have a little bit of play, but not too much. Just a quick side note here, a 110-inch long piece of aluminum tubing will grow nearly a 1/4 inch if you change its temperature by about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. That is not insignificant, and that needs to be accounted for in designing the gap that we just talked about. I actually didn't think about this. Jackie, another builder, mentioned it, and I'm glad he did because it made me deep dive this a little bit further. Now, the boom will also expand, but it'll expand at a significantly smaller rate. So what I'm designing for, and for what I'm going to gap this tail boom for, is assuming that the helicopter will get down to 0 degrees Fahrenheit and go up to about 150 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's a little conservative for me, at least. If you account for the boom expanding and you account for the aluminum expanding over that temperature range, you'll get about 190 thousandths-ish of delta growth. So we're dealing with like 0.19. If you then split that in the middle, considering it's about 75 degrees now, it'll give you 75 down to 0, 75 up to 150. You'll need about a 100 thousandths gap at room temperature where we are now, and that is what I'm going to size this for. I'm not going to do that right now. When I do the final assembly, I will measure it one last time, make sure it is accurate, and I will design a new spacer to give me that 100 thou gap at that time. The last thing to do here is to open up these pilot holes that were drilled from the factory to 1/4 inch to accept that tail rotor gearbox. Get that gearbox installed and we are good to go. And that concludes the drivetrain with the main reduction, the splitter gearbox, the tail rotor drive shaft, and the tail rotor gearbox. There are a couple more things we could be doing, like the intermediate drive shafts to connect all of these, but frankly, I just want to get started on the engine, which is next. Make sure you come back next time. We're going to dress this thing up and try to get it all installed in one video. It might be a little ambitious, but we'll see what we can do. Go build something cool, never stop learning, and we'll see you on the next one. In the last video of building my helicopter, I tackled the controls, the mixer, and the swash plate.